every single city in the country has some great areas and some not so great areas. Nashville is no exception. So today, what we're going to talk about is, according to roadsnacks.com, the 10 worst neighborhoods in Nashville. Now, I can't tell you that I agree with them, and I can also tell you that I would bet that in maybe 4 years, at least one of these 10 is going to be called the newest, hippest, up-and-coming area. But if you're moving to Nashville anytime real soon, these might be 10 areas that you will probably want to not check out. If this is of interest, see you on the other side. So no, we're not going there today. But according to roadsnacks.com, who has done for the last 5 years a 10 worst towns or neighborhoods of Nashville, they've done this for the last 5 years and they update it every single year. You know, I can't say I 100% agree or I 100% disagree with many of these things on the list. But what they do is they categorize it based upon 5 real facts. They look at the high degree of unemployment of an area. They look at the median income of the neighborhood. They look at the population density, the low population density, which they say means there's less things to do. Now, that criterion, I don't really quite understand, because nowhere in these areas do you have to drive more than 10 minutes to get to good groceries, good shopping, good things to do, good restaurants. So there's nowhere that you can't get to something pretty easily. So to say that it's a low population density and that's a negative, I don't understand. Let me know. Do you think that that would be a bad thing, is to not have a huge population, a huge bunch of density in your neighborhood? I disagree with that one. But anyway, that's one of their criterion. The fourth one is the low home values. And then the fifth is high crime, which is estimated. They do not use FBI crime rates in this. So estimated. So this may well be like a lot of things. It depends on where you want the statistics to end up as to the results that you get. But all the same. And then they categorize them. They average the scores of each of those 5 things and then number the neighborhoods, best to worst. I will tell you this. I can promise you that within a couple years, at least 3 of these will be on the new up-and-coming list. Just like, say, Sylvan Park 10 years ago was not the newest, hottest, greatest place that everybody who was a millennial wanted to live and raise their young family. It is one of the top 10 today. So today's lower income, up-and-coming, if it's in a great location, and these are all very close to the downtown area. So as things get more and more expensive, in, say, the Sylvan Park or Westmead or some of these other areas, as they get more and more expensive, people are either going way far out of town or closer into town. And I think some of these areas, if you have a stomach for investing in waiting time or helping to bring up an area, you could have yourself a gold mine in one of these 10 areas. It's up to you. I'm just here to give you info. Coming in at number 10 is Bordeaux. This is actually considered the single mother capital of Nashville. And that makes sense. Approximately 20% of the households in this lower income neighborhood are run by single mothers. It is linked to the higher crime rates and the lower wages. Both are readily visible within the city limits of this neighborhood. Bordeaux has some of the highest crime rates as well as the lowest household incomes. Average typical Bordeaux household comes in at $37,000 per year. It has a high unemployment rate of 5.5%, which also explains why 12% of the houses in the neighborhood sit empty. Vacancies are never a good thing for a neighborhood. Coming in at number 9 is Buena Vista. This is in the Bordeaux area, and this suburb of Nashville is regularly ranked as one of the worst places to live in Nashville, year after year. But that's going to change. Meanwhile, Jones, the Buena Vista area, has a crime rate that plagues this area, and drug use is one of the most common issues that locals here face. This, combined with a 6% unemployment rate and exceptionally low wages, make this be number 9 worst, most dangerous area to live in. If you're hoping for a chance of getting some good schools, this Jones Buena Vista area is not for you either. However, if you're looking for affordability and growth, because it is changing, this might be worth it. Coming in at number 8, according to upgradedhome.com, of the most dangerous areas and neighborhoods to live in Nashville is Capitol View. Now, from this picture, don't let it fool you. This is in a great location, very close into downtown, overlooks the Capitol. It is growing, it is changing. But for now,
It still has a lot of features, but not many are really pleasant. This large neighborhood household income sits at $33,000 a year, which is way below the typical American family income. Maybe it's due to the bad economy of this location because it's just not much there, or lack of things to do, but the Capitol View happens to have an above average crime rate for the city of Nashville. People here have a 110% chance higher of being a victim of crime. Now, I will tell you, it's also because a lot of people come into the downtown area. Obviously, if you're someone looking for something bad to do, robbing tourists is a prime location, and this is so close. So it's a combination of those things, truly. I would not have put it at number 8, but Upgraded Home sure did. Number 7, McKissick Park does have a reputation, and it has had my entire life, of being a really pretty tough place to live. The crime here, like in most other neighborhoods on this list, is high enough to cause some great pause. If you live in this part of Nashville, you're twice as likely to become a victim of violent crime or property crime than if you lived in any other part of the city, according to upgradedhome.com. Along with that high crime rate, McKissick also happens to have an extremely low income with very few things to do nearby. There is a park, but you really have to get on a bus or travel to have much to do. As a result, the home prices are extremely low. But I will say, this too is changing. Most homes were built prior to the 50s, but you will notice there are lots of new buildings coming in and lots of new development and gentrification. So this is one of those areas that is changing quickly because of its close proximity to downtown. Coming in at number 6 is Elizabeth Park, and that's a shame. It sounds as if it should be a nice spot, right? It's kind of considered McKissick's twin in a lots of ways because both neighborhoods are known for having alarmingly high violent crime rates, especially where that gang activity is concerned. Now, I don't care what city you live in. Anyone who says there is no gang activity of any of the top 70 cities in this country is plain old lying to you. And we have some. Elizabeth Park is known for it. It has less total crime than McKissick, but the violent crime rates are a little bit higher than that. If you live here, you're going to be 6 times more likely to be a victim of a violent crime than if you lived in a suburb with the average crime rate. Median household income is the reason for this, shockingly low at $22,000 per family. And to make matters worse, the high school dropout rate is also climbing. So many kids who grow up here just are at a pretty big disadvantage. Again, close into downtown, it's going to be changing. Coming in at number 5 is the Osage North Fisk area. Something you're going to notice, each one of these areas, especially as we get from 5 on down, were developed and mostly built in the 30s, 40s, 50s. And, as flight moved out to the suburbs, they became blighted areas. It is changing. I promise you it's changing. But for now, coming in at number 5 is Osage North Fisk. This does not have the high crime rate of Elizabeth Park or McKissick, but it's still pretty tough. The crime rate is higher than average, but it has a weird set of problems because property values are high here. That's because there's been a lot of renovation and teardowns and new constructions because of its close proximity to town. So property values are high, but the unemployment rate at 12% means that makes it really tough. Dropout rates in the median household income are under $27,000. Urban blight makes this a kind of a frustrating place to live. It's in its teen years of change. So coming in at number 5 is around the Fisk area. Part of being able to say that you live in a great neighborhood is knowing that you will get some kind of return on your investment you made while moving into the neighborhood. So Cleveland Park is historic. It is on this list, and the price of property is really going up. Again, back because of its proximity, people coming in and doing some renovation. But so is the crime, and the unemployment rate is also going up. So it's a weird dichotomy. Like most areas on the list, Cleveland Park is regularly spotted on lists of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Nashville. It's situated on 18 acres, was developed in the 60s. So it's got a community center, playground, public restrooms, picnic shelters. It's got a lot of amenities right there. It is changing, but it is still high on this list because of its crime and unemployment. With a name like College Heights, you might expect to have at least a really great education educational system in this area, but it's a fairly dangerous part of town where violent crime is over 3 times more common than the national average. The schools here regularly receive a grade of F because of the high dropout rates and poor curriculum. Matter of fact, the elementary school gets a 10 on the Great Schools rating, so I hate to give you that news. It is close here to Fisk. It's close to some other universities. Maybe the average household income of only less than half the national average is a big part of the problem. Low income. Also, the locals from the College Heights, Clifton area struggle with the highest unemployment rate of Nashville, sitting right about 12%. It's not far from downtown, so it's close to many amenities, and the rent is pretty cheap, but the crime rate's pretty bad. I told you that Buena Vista would be back, and here we are at Buena Vista again in the Heights. This is an area that was developed in the 60s, and although it has a lot of amenities like sidewalks, easy access to the river, close to the Ted Rhodes golf course, well-lit streets, the school system is not good. Be sure to check out the Great Schools. And it seems to be pretty close to being one of the worst areas of Nashville. Unemployment is high, median household income is at $30,000 a year. There's a lot of change in this area. You would think because of the high crime rate that it would be inexpensive, but the rents run anywhere from $2,000 all the way up to $4,000 a month because of the gentrification coming in. Purchasing is up. Condos, 200s to all the way up to 700 for some of the new construction. So there's a lot of change, and those dynamics is causing a little confusion. So coming in with the dubious honor of being the #1 most dangerous neighborhoods to live in Nashville, according to upgradedhome.com, is Shepherd Hills. It has the crime rate, which is 3% higher than the Nashville average. Cost of living in Shepherd Hills is 3% higher than the Nashville average, according to this website. I will tell you, I totally disagree with that. But it is a pretty high rate, and the rental prices in Shepherd Hills are 17% higher than the Nashville average. So there's a strange dichotomy of things happening here. Crime rate, as I say, well over 8 times the national American neighborhood average. So there's some gang activity, there's some drug use in both. The income levels, though, strangely enough, in Shepherd Hill is fairly high for those who can get the job. Unemployment, though, remains at 70%. So again, back to what I'm telling you, there's a lot of upheaval in some of these areas. But for now, #1 area, most dangerous, Shepherd Hills.
I promise you, some of these places we've just visited will be in the very near future on one of the best ofs or the best up-and-coming places here in the Nashville area. So that's exactly why you need to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'll keep you in the know. Every 6 months or so, those lists are changing. You want to know what's what. And you know what? It might be the perfect place for you. One of these places. If you love hip, trendy, up-and-coming places that'll give you a great return for your money. You got to have a little nerve, though. Meanwhile, you might just want to not be there on your own as it gets to be dark, according to this website. See you next week. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. You really do need to stay in the know if you're coming to the Nashville area.